What is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Insomniacs Livestream with me, your host, Dr. Andrew Kim, MD. I'm a board certified psychiatrist. And for those of you who are not subscribers already, please subscribe to my mental health YouTube channel here. This is the live stream component of my YouTube channel. We do this every Tuesday night and Saturday nights at 10:30 p.m. Central, 11:30 p.m. Eastern, hence the term the Insomniacs Livestream. For those of you who are subscribers and for those of you who are regular listeners, I thank you for your support, for hanging out late with me late at nights. And thanks for joining again. I see a couple viewers already here. So tonight, we are going to take a break from some of the more serious, well, I guess today's still semi-serious, but I guess from the psychiatric specific topics that we tend to go over. And we bounce back and forth between talking about mental health topics, disorders, medication treatments, healthcare related topics, but we also do kind of pop culture psychology here. And today we are going to dive into a couple different aspects that, I have some firsthand experience with, some things that I think are interesting growing trends in our society and even on social media through the leveraging of social media technology and all these mobile applications. Um, what is up, Dennis? Dennis is one of our regular listeners. Have you heard of the card game One with Everything by Steve Jackson Games? The game, which went out of print in 1995, predicted 9/11, the BP oil spill, and the Fukushima nuclear disaster and more. No, I haven't heard of that. I'll have to look into that, Dennis. That almost sounds like The Simpsons and The Simpsons predicting everything in the future. So I'll have to check that out. So today we're going to talk about two separate topics. Topic number one, we are going to talk about what I actually think. Again, it's not your typical psychiatric mental health topic, but I do think it's a growing concern that I see becoming a growing trend, and another subtype of gambling and another subtype of potential addictions. And it is in the category of sports cards and trading cards, and sports trading card addictions. Okay. So, like anything, it's not that it's so, novel per se, because pretty much anything can become an addiction, right? Anything can become problematic, whether it's addiction to food, addiction to drugs and heroin, addiction to sex, addiction to gambling, sports gambling, whatever it may be. But it's a fascinating phenomenon because it is a booming, booming industry. Now, for those of you, some of you who may just have a passion for the hobby of sports collectibles, trading card collectibles, so I'm including basketball cards, football cards, Pokemon cards, right? So the card industry is a booming industry. Don't laugh at it. Okay. In the year 2024, rough estimates say that this was a 12 billion with a B, a $12 billion industry, and growth is rapid. They predict that within maybe even 4 or 5 years from now, that this is going to grow into a $30 billion global industry. So there is money to be made. And part of the boom has been through the leverage of social media and buying and selling platforms like eBay, Whatnot, Fanatics. And these are platforms where people can go and, buy and sell and, quote unquote, flip for profit these sports trading cards. Okay. And unfortunately, in my opinion, and I will say unfortunately, in the midst of kind of the fun of buying, selling, trading, making relationships within a hobby, that's not something novel per se, but within that there has been kind of this trend, unfortunately, where the focus has become on finding rare, high value cards that, in my opinion, are inflated in terms of value, and trying to flip these for a profit. And it's become this form of almost gambling, in my opinion, more than a sports collectible hobby, for not for all. So again, please don't get me wrong. You could see in the back there in my display case, I have trading cards. It is something that I enjoy doing. something that I've been doing for several years. As a kid, I used to do it. I picked it up again as an adult. And there was a window of time where I got caught up in the hype of, ooh, I could flip these cards for some profit. And I easily saw how one could get sucked into this. And these social media platforms and buying and selling platforms like Whatnot and others are really milking this hype train right now. And I'm going to walk you through. So, for those of you who are not familiar with this, I'm going to walk you through how something as innocent as a hobby can suck you in to the potential of becoming a problematic addiction. Okay. And again, you can apply these principles to anything, but we're going to use the example of collectibles and sports collectibles. Okay. And I'm sure you can apply this to other things in your life. But the reason that I think it's alarming is because there's also a very strategic targeting to the youth, right? I don't know how old you guys are. I'm in my 40s. When I used to, back in the day in elementary school, buy a pack of sports cards, it might be like a buck or two, right? And you try to collect your favorite players or collect people on a team. You try to put them in your little plastic albums, and it was fun. But those are days long gone, in my opinion. There are still people who do it, and there is still kind of this purity of collecting. So again, as we talk about this, I'm not trying to vilify, as they call it, the hobby, quote unquote. I'm just trying to highlight, unfortunately, kind of a dark portion that is growing and gaining a lot of traction. And in particular, it really concerns me when it's targeting some of our youth, meaning elementary school kids, junior high kids, preteens, teens. Because I almost wonder, and it's fascinating. I'm even thinking about writing something, trying to put it out there into the media, or to maybe some journals that take, non-controlled trial kind of, articles, because I haven't actually found much out there on PubMed, how this could maybe serve as almost like a seed or a gateway to condition folks for another form of seeking a dopamine hit. Right? So let's walk through how this can become problematic and how this can become a deep-seated problem. In the second half of our discussion, we're going to talk about the ethics of what are called cook groups. Okay, and the term cook means slang for to buy or to cop or to grab items, typically at a discounted price, or to grab things that are very limited. And it gained the popularity. This term gained popularity primarily lately in modern era through the sneaker culture. And with the sneaker culture also gaining tons of hype with limited edition shoes that only have a certain amount produced, some of them selling for hundreds or thousands of dollars, these online groups on Discord and other platforms were created to leverage technology and bots and to get inside information to help people find, kind of the limited drops and early windows into when you can purchase these things and then flip them for a profit. But this has now expanded beyond sneaker culture. And now there are just kind of these reselling or profit-based cook groups, as they call them. And I'm going to walk you through an example of one of these cook groups, that I bought a membership for just to check it out. And I did dabble with some selling and reselling and trying to do things. But I want to ask you, as the general audience, for feedback on kind of the ethics and your perspective. And again, there's no judgment here. It's just the ethics of what these cook groups do. And if your mindset, after I describe what is entailed in these groups, if your mindset is, yeah, whatever, we're the regular guy, we're the consumer, screw big business, this levels the playing field. Or if you're going to say at the end of the description of what some of these cook groups do, hey, this is basically borderline fraud. This is a little shady. What about small businesses and small independent mom and pop businesses this might affect? This is actually criminal activity. And I'd like to just kind of hear your thoughts on kind of the ethics and the mindset of a general consumer who might be able to take advantage and benefit from one of these cook groups, and what your thoughts are. So that's what we're going to discuss today. So let's walk through first the first half of our discussion: trading card hobby, the trading card hobby or sports collectibles hobby somehow potentially becoming a problematic gambling addiction. And what we're going to do, I'm going to walk you through examples of how expensive and how quickly things can escalate with spending with trading cards, why there is a craze and an incentive to hunt for rare and valuable cards, and how a hobby can then become a form of gambling. I'm going to actually rip open a pack of cards here live in just a few minutes so we could hunt together and see the realities of, most of the time, almost 99% of the time, you're going to open this and get a bunch of cardboard of junk that's probably worth pennies. Once in a blue moon, you might get a card that you might be able to sell on eBay or one of these other flipping platforms, maybe for a profit. But I would say almost inevitably, almost all the time, you will lose money. Trust me from personal experience and from getting a little too deep in this, but we're going to rip open one of these live and we'll see what athletes in the NFL that we pull, and if there's anything of any remote value at all, or if it's going to be a piece of crap that I wasted $7.50 on from Walmart just a few hours ago. Okay. So, and then if this works through OBS, I'm going to actually show a live stream, and we'll just go live, literally live. So I'm going to live stream a live stream. Hopefully the audio works. At the very least, you'll see the visuals, and we'll see one of these selling platforms on Whatnot with some of these well-known influencers who essentially, in my opinion, again, not to vilify them, they're running a business, but are basically operating a legal form of sports collectible gambling, in my opinion. Okay, and these are called breaks. Breaks. Because what they're doing is they're selling a super expensive box of cards, okay, where one box might cost $500 retail. And rather than an individual like myself or yourself saying, why would I spend an absurd $500, on a box of cards, they're divvying up the cost by letting you maybe pay a $100 buy-in, a $200 buy-in a piece for several people, to then allow you to maybe get a few cards from that box randomly assigned to you as a gamble, and they get to take a part of the profit. Meaning, like, they might have paid $500 for the box, but from all the buy-in fees that they're getting for people who gamble to get a few cards from this box, hoping that they land a valuable one, they might end up collecting $700 for a $400 box. Right? I mean, I'm just making up numbers, but essentially that's the name of the game. They're selling you a piece of the chase, a piece of the hunt, where you don't have to pay the full retail value. You're buying in as a group individually. And the more you pay, the more portions of the cards you get from that box, hoping that you're going to get that random valuable one. These are called breaks, and the people who run them are called breakers. And there are literally platforms that operate and make their profit by letting breakers run breaks. And I know it sounds weird, but I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to show you this. So let's walk through it, okay? So number one, let's start off with the purity, right? To be a balanced conversation, the purity of sports collecting. Like I said, as a kid, I used to collect cards. I used to grow up as a Cubs fan, a sad Cubs fan in the 80s. Then in the 90s, the Bulls were dominant with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. It's a fun time. And look, at the purity, at the core of this, there is a purity of just having a hobby, collecting sports cards of athletes you admire, teams you follow, players that you like, putting them in a display case. And look, it's all fun and games. And like I said, even in this day in 2025, you can purchase a pack of cards for like $7.50. Okay. But that could escalate very quickly, right? This is what I bought at Walmart for $7.50. This is called a retail pack. It's a pack of cards. Typically, they hold anywhere from as low as 5 cards in a pack to 30 cards, like in this pack. Okay. But this could escalate to this. This is at Walmart. This is a box. This is a retail box of cards. So this contains multiple packs. Okay. And by buying this box, obviously there's more cards you can pick from. And sometimes in these boxes, there are maybe special cards that are variations that are maybe worth slightly more or harder to find, or are limited print runs. And you're increasing your chances to some degree of maybe getting one of those cards. But you could see here, this escalated very quickly. It went from one pack of cards for $7.50 to a box for about $50, which is hefty for pieces of cardboard. Now, you say that's hefty, but here are the key words for those of you who are paying attention to this and want to learn about this. These are called retail packs and retail boxes. Now, if you really want to try to hunt down the rare cards that are worth a lot of money, you probably are not going to want to buy these retail boxes to increase your chances. Sometimes it's the only way to get some of these valuable cards. You need to purchase what is called a hobby box. And basically, these companies create hobby enthusiast boxes that increase your chances of hitting these rarer cards. And sometimes will only put some of these rare cards in hobby boxes, almost forcing your hand to say, if I want a shot at some of these huge cards that are worth a lot of money, I will need to spend, look at this, $409.95 for a single box of cards. Okay. And you may get probably $50 back if you're lucky for the average person who opens up one of these, maybe. Okay. Maybe you get $100 back. Okay. But the ROI, honestly, is typically quite poor. People are going to vehemently disagree, but I'm telling you, most people, just like gamblers, are lying. The ROI is poor. Okay. Now, why would you do this? Why would anyone in their right mind, besides someone who is rich, spend $410 on a hobby box? Because everyone is secretly hoping that they are going to hit a massive card worth a ton of money, such as this one. For those of you who follow NBA basketball, this is Victor Wembanyama. He is one of the premier young talents in the NBA. Unfortunately, he got injured recently this season. But you can see here, this is an outlier example. I want to emphasize that this is an outlier example where it's called a one of one, meaning there's only one of its kind, right? So imagine the odds of all the thousands and thousands of cards that they might make for a series of cards 1 year to get this one damn card, right? And then in addition to, I'll explain it in a second, not only did whoever bought this found this one damn card, and they had it sent off to what's called a grading company. And basically, even this is like a shill. It's like the mafia who says, oh, your card is in mint condition. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10. And they grade them for you. And they literally put them in this cheap piece of plastic. But by doing this, it raises the value of the card astronomically, because whoever is the potential buyer will be guaranteed that as long as this is coming from a reputable grading company like PSA, some people will laugh at that because people in the hobby laugh at how reputable PSA is, but this is the most well-known grading company. You are going to ensure some floor level of value. Okay, so look at this. I know it's hard to read in the small text here. This card sold for $59,000. Let me repeat. This piece of cardboard that's encased in a 50-cent piece of plastic that somebody deemed to be a 9 out of 10 mint condition sold for $59,000. So now, do you think I'm using hyperbole of why people can get out of control purchasing $400 boxes of cardboard with pictures of athletes on them, hoping that they will be the one person who gets a $59,000 card like this? That is what the quote unquote, they call it the chase. What are the chase cards that are in this series this year? Okay. And this is no longer just relegated to adults. Now there are kids who are trying to do this. There are kids who are buying Pokemon cards, adults who are buying Pokemon cards, trying to find the chase card, the rare limited print runs of a card, hoping that they can then flip it for 5 figures, right? Again, I want to be careful. There are people who do this for fun, people who enjoy this, people who do it for the community, for a passion. But trust me when I say what has caused this mega boom in this industry in the last few years has correlated with the rise of sports gambling as well. Okay. And the people in this industry saw the writing on the wall. Look how enormous sports gambling has become in terms of revenue. How can we gamify and basically gamify our sports card industry to add an element of a thrill and a chase and a dopamine hit to almost resemble gambling. And it has been wildly successful, in my opinion. I think purists in the hobby will say it's horrible and it's one of the worst things that has happened to this hobby. But the reality is, for a portion of people, this has now become a chase to find cards like this. Okay. So let's talk real quick, and then we'll hop onto the browser and see if we can get the live stream to work. And then we'll rip open that pack and see what we got for those of you who are watching. But let's go through, like, what are the types of cards you are hoping to hit, right? If you find, let me see if I can grab one here. Typically, and what we're likely to find when we open up that pack, are cards like this. Just a normal card. These are called base cards. These are just plain old cards of your athletes that are on kind of the normal stock that this entire series come from, okay? And then there are other cards like this that you can see, even the color is different. It's shinier than the previous one. These are called parallels or variations. Those might be nominally worth a little bit more because they're not your base card. But really, what people are hunting for are these rarer cards, okay? And then there's different variations. Let me show you a couple examples, right? Here's one from my display case that I pulled. For those of you, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. This is a Kobe Bryant card. And if you could see here, it's hard to see with the glare. There is a piece, a swatch of clothing here. And that is a game-worn piece of Kobe Bryant's jersey. It's called a relic card. There are relic cards where they literally cut out pieces of someone's baseball uniform, football uniform, the quarterback's glove, Tiger Woods' golfing glove, Kobe Bryant's jersey, and they literally cut out a little patch. They embed it into the card, and then you can say, oh, I have a piece of history. This is literally from the jersey that Kobe Bryant wore. This one actually says a game-worn jersey. He wore it during a game. So you can say, I have a little piece of history, sports memorabilia to put in my display case, right? Then there's people who hunt vintage cards. This is a very old card, not from the modern era. This is from, well, I guess depends on your age. This is from 1958, a Mickey Mantle card. Cool, just to say, hey, I got one of the legends of the sport, one of the most well-known legends. I don't know, this might be worth $200 at most. This Kobe Bryant card might be worth $70, $80. People are looking for rookie cards, right? Rookie cards of well-known athletes. This is a Tom Brady rookie. That might be worth hundreds of dollars. And then people are looking for what are called autograph cards, right? You actually get an autograph of your athlete. For those of you who are Chicagoans, this is Brian Urlacher, one of the hometown legends here in Chicago. And I can say, oh, look, I got an autograph from Brian Urlacher without ever having met him, right? So these are like the variations of cards that people are hunting for, right? Now, again, that Brian Urlacher card I got for like $20 to show you, even though it's cool and it has his autograph, it's like 20 something bucks, right? Out of all the ones I showed you, probably that Tom Brady card might be in, I don't know, maybe it might be $600-700. That's probably the most expensive one out of those bunches. But like the Mickey Mantle one's maybe a couple $100. The Kobe Bryant one was like $70 maybe, if I'm lucky, right? So these cards, right? Some people are doing it for the fun of it, but other people are hoping that they could land one of these at a low cost and then flip it for a profit, right? So let's see. I don't know if this is going to work, and I apologize if the sound doesn't come through. There's several of you here. Let's tune in to a live stream of a break. Let me see if I could find a break, and then I will play it on the browser. I don't know if the sound is going to work, so once I play it, type in the chat if the sound is coming through. If the sound is coming through, I'll let it play a little bit longer. If the sound's not coming through, it's my first time trying to do this, then I'll probably just cut it off short and just kind of explain what's happening. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I could find a live stream and then see if I can cue it up. And I apologize for volume. So if the volume goes loud, just turn down your volume. Here we go. Give me 1 second here. Let me find one here and see if I could find a live one, and I'll cue it up for you guys, and I'll shut up for a minute. And then put in the chat if the sound is coming through or not. All right, let me find one here. Hold on one second. That one's not ripping. They're not actually opening cards right now. Let me see if I could find one they're opening. Let's see.
God. Cowboys. Oh my God. Eagles at $1, chat. Well. You still can get paid though. That's the thing. That's the value at 280. You can still get paid here. I don't like you. I do. You want to trade too? No Jalen Hurts case yet, chat. You're a $450 team. Take it down. What is this timer? What about it? What's wrong with it? 30 seconds? Yeah. Is that not normal? No. Bro, here we go. I appreciate y'all hopping in there. No free ride. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Okay, so I don't know if the sound was coming through or not for those of you who are watching that in the chat, but let me just explain what you were watching there. So you saw that box of cards in the background. So those were like some of the boxes I was showing you, right? And you saw that little spinning wheel in the middle, right? So the person who's running that show is called a breaker, okay? And you saw there was a price at the bottom of the screen, right? And basically, this is an example of a break. This person has all those boxes, and it's basically like an auction format. Okay. Rather than you paying hundreds of dollars for each box or thousands of dollars, right? If you add up all those boxes on the screen, it could be thousands of dollars worth of retail value of cards, right? So who's going to do that? Nobody really, unless you're rich, right? So rather than spending thousands of dollars, at the beginning, we caught it at the tail end. They might have had every single team in the NFL there, and you would start bidding from $1, and until the timer goes down and someone wins that bid, the wheel would randomly spin and land on a team. Like, let's say for me, like it landed on, I don't know, the Green Bay Packers, right? And so on and so forth. And they just keep bidding each team one at a time, one at a time. And then at the end of it, when every team has been assigned to someone who won the auction, they start opening up the boxes one by one. And then whatever team you had randomly gotten, any card and any player from that team would go to you, and you would get to keep it and they would ship it to you. So think about what you just saw there. Somebody just raised the bid. It went from $1 all the way up to $375 to get the Philadelphia Eagles. $375. So you're not going to get all the other cards. So if they ripped up a valuable card from the San Francisco 49ers and got Brock Purdy or something, you wouldn't get it. You would only get the cards for the team that you randomly got assigned to. It is gambling. There's no other way to say it. Like, and again, these are adults who are buying in knowingly. So it's not that I feel sorry for them. I'm just saying, but there is a small percentage of them who have likely developed an addiction. And there are stories, and you could find articles out there. Go type in Google later when you have free time, trading card, sports card addiction, and you will hear some stories of some people who have spent six figures. Basically the same, it's almost the equivalent of some folks who have compulsive issues. And you could say, again, it's not unique to this. They might have been hooked on playing roulette or craps or poker or blackjack. But all I'm saying is even this medium and this hobby can serve as a potential problem with addictions for certain keywords, certain individuals. And if you said, hey, like, you just click a few buttons and you just spend $375 to get a handful of cards from one team, imagine you do that every night, multiple times a night, and imagine what your credit card bill is going to look like. Trust me, I have met people on social media who have messaged me and DM'd me saying, hey, what do? I just racked up $50,000. I'm not exaggerating. I've gotten messages saying I've spent $50,000 on Whatnot, on Fanatics, on these live platforms by just getting hooked on the chase and the hunt that they were going to land a card like the one I showed you earlier, like that $59,000 rookie card of Victor Wembanyama, right? So now that you saw it live, why don't we rip open a pack? Let's see what we get. So I didn't spend $375 like those guys that you just saw in the live stream and whatnot. I spent $7.50. Let's see if I even get a decent ROI on this pack. So let me open it up. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Brandon Aubrey. These are all base cards. Like I said, these are just the normal cards that are not special. So when you see these are basically worthless from a monetary value. It's might have value in sentiment if it's your hometown team, but these for this series, this is what a base card looks like. These are nothing special. Okay, these are basically, you'd be lucky to get a penny. You'd have to probably sell this whole stack for that much. So let's see. I'm just going to go for the sake of time. I'll just read some of the names. Jared Goff, the quarterback of the Lions. Let's see. Bijan Robinson, a running back on the Falcons. All base cards, base cards. Patrick Surtain, he's Defensive Player of the Year, I believe, but base card, Justin Herbert. Cool card because I like Justin Herbert as a quarterback, but base card, worthless, 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 worthless. Base card, base card, base card, base card, base card, base card, base card. Okay, let's get to the back. It looks like there's some non-base cards here. Okay. Let's see. A rookie card of Jonah Ellis, probably worth nothing. This is what I meant by a parallel or a variation. That's cool. Nico Collins is a great receiver on the Houston Texans. Maybe if there's a Texans fan out there, I might be able to get $1 for this. Literally $1, probably at most. Okay. So maybe that's $1 back, but you're not counting the sweat equity of me trying to put the manpower to sell this on eBay, list it. Can I even recoup anything when I have to ship this with shipping costs? So I might not even make anything, honestly. So to be fair, let's say 50 cents, right? So Nico Collins, 50 cents. Let's see here. A rookie card of Tyler Nubin, the Giants, probably not worth anything. So I'm not going to count that. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. Not bad. Here is a special parallel called Heroes. It's not rare, but it's not a normal card of Patrick Mahomes, who just got crushed by the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. This one, maybe because Patrick Mahomes has GOAT status or legend status, maybe this one, maybe I can get a few bucks for this. I don't know, maybe $5 if I'm lucky. If I'm lucky, maybe $2-3, maybe $5 at most, maybe a diehard Chiefs fan. So maybe I come out losing a couple dollars, and that's not even counting the sweat equity of time and energy spent listing these, selling these, shipping these, where I'm probably still coming out behind. And is it even worth it to me to try to sell this? That's what I mean, right? If I was just doing this for fun, I'd say, cool, here's Patrick Mahomes, here's a cool card. I'll put it in my display case. I'll trade it. But if you're a flipper, this is the reality of what they don't show you on those live platforms where they hype it up and make it seem like everyone's going to hit $1,000 card. 99 point something percent of the time, this is what you end up with. A pile of cardboard and a stack that'll keep growing because most people are not going to really do this and put in the sweat equity to run it like a true business. And you're going to say to yourself, oh, I'm going to sell them. I'll recoup my money. And you never will, more than likely. So, like I said, what I find concerning is that these platforms know what they're doing, right? They're not going to say, oh, we promote this kind of gambling. Okay. And they find ways to kind of circumvent and make sure it's not quote unquote gambling, because in a break, everyone who pays gets something. So you're not walking away with nothing. So you always get something. So they're saying you're purchasing cards, right? So it's it's a very interesting way to work around um, certain legalities, in my opinion, right? But that's kind of what's happening, guys. And people have racked up huge debt. People have had problems similar to gambling at a casino. Some people have had to delete these apps, ban themselves, and put them on a list so that like they can't even log on. Because you could see how quickly that escalated. We went from an innocent pack of cards of $7.50 to people bidding $375. So you could see there's no hyperbole. People are doing this at freaking 11 p.m. Central on a Tuesday night. You witnessed it. I showed it on the live stream, a live stream of the live stream, right? People are sitting here bidding hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a night to get a handful of cards, hoping that they're going to recoup their cost or be able to profit. This is like day trading almost, but worse, because at least with day trading, there's some science that goes into it, even though it's still a gamble. But I mean, this is even worse in my opinion, right? So it's just something intriguing and that's been on my mind. So I don't know if I have the energy. I'm hoping I can I actually haven't found much out there. So if you are a listener and you'd like to write a piece with me, and if you're good at writing, I would love to give some clinical insights. I always have all these nice ideas. I don't have the energy and the motivation and the follow through. I would love to co-author something. So if you are someone who is good at writing, if you want to submit a piece somewhere to some mainstream media, to Newsweek, Time, whatever, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, I would be happy to co-author something with you, because I've been dabbling with the idea of this. I just have not had the time and energy. So if you're watching this non-live on a recorded live stream, I'd love to do this. If someone wants to write a piece, do a little mini documentary, hit me up. I'm willing to collaborate. Okay. Moving on. So we were talking about cook groups. This segment will be a little shorter, because this is really more just a question for you as the listener. So whether you're here live, and there's still several of you here, or for those who are watching this recorded, I'm going to walk you through a cook group that I have been a part of, but at this point I might cancel my membership. I don't know if it's worth it anymore. So, and I want to hear your thoughts on kind of the ethical component of, are you cool with something like this to get a little edge and to help you and your loved ones save some money? Or is this a little dicey? Or is the answer in the middle, where as long as you use it in the right way and you don't go overboard, it's okay? So again, when I'm talking cook groups, I'm talking about these general cook groups, not sneaker culture, trying to find limited edition sneakers. This has grown beyond the sneaker culture, and now there are discords out there. I'm not going to name names and stuff, because I don't want to make anyone like I'm look bad that I'm targeting them. People are out there running businesses, but there are these discords that basically, and all of them are different. They're not all the same. Some are more geared towards flippers, trying to find you clearance prices, basement bottom prices, so that you have huge margins to work with flipping items. Some of these are called glitch discords, where they're just showing you literally errors, pricing errors, and glitches in software on retail websites where literally there's a mistake and the price is wrong. And there might be a small window of time where you could purchase a high value item for far cheaper than even clearance prices. There might be glitches where you shouldn't be able to combine coupons, but you can combine and stack 10 coupons suddenly, until some software coder on their end realizes there was a mistake. Sometimes there are glitches where you can get items totally for free. Sometimes there's loopholes that people take advantage of for cash back. Sometimes there are literally ways to just generate free coupons, right? So I'm going to walk you through some examples to show you again that I don't make up crap for the sake of clickbait. I'm going to walk you through examples of things that are there every day. I'm saying every day. It's not like you have to sit there and wait weeks for one of these opportunities to come up. There are hundreds of opportunities per day, depending on what you want. There's glitches and things for free food items, rebates, where some people just all they do is they do these like free rebate things where they test out new products and then they purchase it, they get reimbursed for it on the back end, and they have channels where they just find you these things so you can just keep getting free food basically. So there's all these different things, but let me walk you through a few examples, okay, of what I even found just in the last couple days, yesterday, today. Okay. So let's see here. I didn't get this. This was a very short window of time. I'm not going to lie, guys. If I could have, I would have. Here was something that was alerted in the group I'm in that I subscribe to. They found some 1 terabyte version of a Microsoft Xbox. I guess typically it retails for like $500 at Best Buy. And there was a window of time where somehow there was some kind of error or issue on Best Buy's website where it was down to $123. And there were people who were buying numerous ones using different people's accounts even so they can buy multiples of these and then flipping them instantly in their local community, selling them for obviously not at full retail price, but maybe selling them for $450, $400, and they have a huge profit margin to work with. And there's photos of people that are in this channel showing you the profits they made, buying multiple, selling multiple, quick flip, right? So that's a concrete example of an error in pricing at a big box retailer, right? And then I know some of you might say, well, look, Best Buy is a huge business. Who cares? People even walk out and steal things. There's a margin for them to have to deal with, pricing errors, retail theft, blah, blah, blah. So who cares? Big business, we're the little man. Okay, but keep this in mind. What if, and I don't know, I'm just using this as a generic example. I don't even know if this is truly a big business, small business, but I've never heard of this brand. I'm going to enlarge it. It's called ANS or something. It's some kind of fitness, I'm assuming, brand. And basically, all these things got knocked, and it wasn't supposed to be the case. I think the case was maybe one of these was supposed to end up being like a free gift with a purchase. And again, some kind of coding error was found. And then this was alerted to the subscriber base saying, take advantage quick before people realize, right? You can get this, workout supplements that are probably $20, $30 a pop, a hoodie, some keto brownie mix, another t-shirt. And they estimated the value of all these things to be several $100s. And all you had to do was go quick before this was discovered. And then all you had to do is pay for $8 of shipping and handling, and you get all this stuff. Okay. And numerous people did. But let's say this was your business and you are some independent, privately owned, sole proprietorship, some small LLC, and you had 300 people rush and get hundreds of dollars each of merchandise and stuff for 300 people that you weren't accounting for as a small business. What would you do? Right? Some businesses cancel these orders. Others don't even realize if things are automated and things are going out the door from their drop shipping, etc. And before they know it, all these things got shipped and they only caught some of them and canceled some of them, right? So here's an example where it's just basically minus shipping and handling free, where the other version I just showed you of an alert was something that was heavily discounted. Here's another example. These are very frequent Lowe's and Home Depot items. They'll say there are pricing errors. This guy, I don't know, I guess he must be some kind of contractor or just local flipper or wholesaler. Got all these fans, ceiling fans. So he says, even bragging, over $1,200 worth of ceiling fans costed a total of 7 cents. right? And I'm not kidding. These are real. I've even gone and tested some of these where I was surprised where some $300 item ended up being like 10 bucks, $5. This is an extreme one. Sometimes you get hassled by the employees, but literally, like, the barcode will scan and it'll scan for that price. So people are scouring these things, tracking these things down, and then alerting these discords, right? Now, here to me is even a more extreme thing. Some of these even have what are called coupon generators, versus you going onto the website, putting an email, maybe generating one coupon per household, right? You getting some random thing in the mail. Literally, I don't know how they do it, so I'm not going to try to pretend like I know, but I'm telling you, trust me when I say there are some of these discords where like they figured out a way where you could just keep printing up coupons. And I'm not saying coupon like discount, like you will get 100% discount. Okay. And I know these are weird things, Cheez-Its and this and that, butter cookies, Beyond Butter. Okay. But trust me when I say, look, I'm not trying to act like an angel. I was curious. I tested one of these for some sparkling ice and some other soda, right? I think at one time it was for Mountain Dew. And they're very specific. They'll say, oh, try to go to self-checkout, right? Where no one's going to hassle you. And I'm like, all right. So I just wanted to see. I'm so, you could see, I'm a very curious guy. Trading cards, this, that, supplements we've talked about. I'm intrigued by all these different facets of life. And I'm just always intrigued and bored, I guess. So I'm like, I want to see if this works. And I go up, I generate one of these coupons, pick up a Mountain Dew, scan it at self-checkout, and weird thing pops up on the self-checkout. It says manager override, manufacturer coupon free. It says, thank you for your transaction. Here's your receipt. You know, it said like $1.99 minus $1.99, $0. Here's your Mountain Dew. I'm like, hot damn, it actually works. And then you hop on that channel on Discord, you will see people with shopping carts full. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding you. Like 50, 100 Mountain Dew bottles, 100 Lipton's Brisk. Right? I'm just saying, it's absurd what people are doing. One time, I kid you not, there was a coupon generator for Plan B. I mean, people were getting like 100 of them for free and then going to like college campuses and flipping them and selling them. You think I'm joking, right? So now you're talking 100% profit margin. So here's my question for you. And again, no judgment here. Are you currently in one of these cook groups? Have you heard of these things? Have you tested them out? Even if you haven't and you're learning about this for the first time, and I'm trying to be fair, right? I wanted to show you the range of things that are available in these cook groups, ranging from heavily discounted items that you can then get alerted to. And again, it's like, to me, that's totally legal and fine, right? It's like you got alerted and you're leveraging software and technology, find a clearance price, the lowest price something has ever been, and it gives you margin as a flipper, or you just got a good deal and you're happy you got something you actually wanted on sale. Okay, no problems there. But then how about these things where you just know it's clearly an error? You could quadruple stack coupons, you can just get something for free, you can get something where you clearly know it's an error, like those thousands of dollars of fans for 7 cents. You're generating coupons. That's where it gets a little bit murky, dicey. Not murky. I think you know what's going on there. I think I saw someone who was arrested once for just making fake coupons in California, I think. But so what are your thoughts? Do you view it as, hey, it is what it is? Everyone's looking for an edge. I'm living check to check. I'm just trying to get by. Prices of things are so absurd that, it's hard for me to sympathize with businesses. And I got to look out for my own, and they make plenty of money. So what's it to them? I'm just one person, right? Or do you view it as, no, that's wrong. That's just morally, ethically wrong. Shouldn't be trying to game the system. Some of these things might even be fraud, defrauding businesses. What if it's not a big business? It's an indie business. It's a private struggling business. It's a et cetera, et cetera. And no, that's messed up. Yeah, we're all trying to make it, but you can't cross a certain line. So I'm just curious, right? Again, not judging, just saying, what are your thoughts? And just intrigued to hear, like, were you even aware these kind of groups existed? Again, more of a pop psychology ethical debate, right? Like we talked about seat pirates and people expecting and wanting you to move on airplanes like we talked about before. So what are your thoughts on cook groups? Right, wrong, who cares? It's just another way of price shopping. It's another way to get an edge. And for those of you who are watching this recorded, what are your thoughts on something that could, start off as an innocent hobby that also has a portion of people maybe getting themselves into trouble with sports collectibles, trading cards, etc., and the dark side of that business and how that industry is also kind of milking the gamification, the pseudo gambling. I just call it gambling. I wouldn't even put pseudo in front of it. That has become a part of the culture of the hobby of sports card collecting, sports memorabilia collecting. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. So for those of you who've joined, I appreciate you. If you are new to this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. We vacillate between some pop culture topics like this, as well as talking about just core mental health topics. So let's open it up, guys. So any questions from the audience that's still here? There's still several of you here who've stuck it through. Let me know. Are there any questions, whether it's about today's topics, whether it's about other topics? Oh, James, what's up? No, your Zoom AA is more important than this. We talked about two different things. We talked about one topic was how sports cards collecting can also become an addiction. And we kind of walk through how something as innocent as and we ripped open a pack live here on the live stream, something as innocent as a $7.50 pack of cards can escalate quickly. And I showed an example of a live stream on a flipping platform where they auction off boxes of cards to people who want to chase valuable cards. And we literally saw on a live stream someone purchasing a spot to get a few cards for $375 and how that could become a problem. The second half, we talked about what are called cook groups. And these are Discords and social media platform groups where people are getting an edge and finding glitches and price errors and ways to take advantage of errors that businesses make to get things for free, to somehow maybe even defraud companies, to get steep discounts. And if what your view was on the ethics of doing that. So Pete says, I know someone who takes free condoms from the county health departments and sells them for profit. Are you serious? Oh God. I believe you though. I believe you because that Discord I was just showing you, Pete, that's what I'm talking about. People are using that coupon generator that I just showed you. I told you, I kid you not. Like they were bragging about how they got 100 Plan B boxes with the coupon generator and then selling them for 100% profit margin. It's just crazy. Imagine if you applied that level of motivation and drive to something else, right? Creative, but geez. Teresa, thank you for joining. Teresa says morally unethical. Yeah, I hear you. I'd prefer to spend my time for positive game rather than scamming a system. I also try to support small businesses within my community. See, that's what I'm talking about, Teresa. Even if one were to, somehow justify like, oh, like Home Depot, what's it to them that I got those fans for 7 cents? But imagine you are somehow a small hardware supplier, right? And you put in sweat equity, and before you knew it, because you're not, some of these small businesses, they're not looking at every single thing, and there's automation and warehouses are shipping things on their behalf. Imagine you just got taken by 100 customers, $1,000 a pop, and they paid 7 cents a piece. I mean, that could be irreversible damage and irreparable harm done to someone's precious, breadwinning business that's supporting their family. They might not be living some life of luxury, like you're saying. It might be a small business that happens to have an online presence. It could be it could be a startup. You're right. And it's like the toll it could take on somebody, I think it's taken for granted by people that are just kind of bragging and gloating about like the quote unquote haul that they got away with. Thank you for your comment, Teresa. Exactly. So, again, I'm not trying to get preachy and judgy. It's a fact, right? Someone is losing on that deal, right? Someone is losing out at some point from being taken advantage of. So appreciate your commenting, Teresa. Any other comments, questions before we wrap things up for tonight? So I wish I had more packs I could open for you guys. Like I said, you can see it was kind of a womp womp kind of deal because I showed you reality, right? That is the reality of these types of gambles. Just like, when you have people who brag to you about Vegas, right? How many of you go to Vegas, right? I mean, I enjoy going to Vegas. I love the buffets. I love the liveliness, the excitement, but you know what I'm talking about. Whether it's you or someone who goes to Vegas, you only hear about the wins. Oh, I hit this jackpot on the slot machine. Oh, I was on this hot streak. Nobody ever tells you about all the L's. Right? Why do casinos operate gambling? Because they have an edge. And the consumer loses in the long run. And when I say edge, you have to understand some of those games at the casinos, the house is happy over the long run to have a 3% edge, 4% edge, 5% edge, because with millions and millions and millions and millions of people coming in and out, that small percentage edge just adds up and it aggregates. They don't care. They don't care that one person won a $10,000 jackpot on a slot machine. They don't care that this one guy went on a hot streak at the blackjack table and won $5,000, because in the long run, probably 97, 98% of people are going to chronically lose their money, and they're going to get it all back and then some, right? Same thing with these sports cards, right? I showed you that example of that one Victor Wembanyama rookie card. And if you missed it, here, let me flash it up for you here, James. This is the allure, right? This is the mirage, right? People want to hit this card, right? Something like this, the rare hot rookie card for baseball, football, basketball, and say, I'm going to be the one that opens up the $100, $400 box of cards, and I'm going to get the $59,000 card. Man, I'm going to strike it rich. And before you know it, and again, just to show you that the industry is taking advantage of this hype, look at these absurd prices. Look at these absurd prices, James. Same with me. I used to collect cards when I was a kid in the 80s. And again, I was telling the audience here, pack of cards might be $1 back then. Box of cards might be like $10 back then. They are selling boxes of cards, and this is not even high. I'm actually surprised this is as low as it is. There are boxes like this, James, that are selling for $600, $700, $800, $1,000 a box, for a box of cards. So I am not exaggerating and using this for clickbait. I am telling you, people are spending $400, for a box, and they'll buy 5 of these suckers, hoping they could get one of those $50,000 cards I just showed you. So imagine how fast you can dig a hole if you just go buck wild in this hobby, right? And again, I am someone who collects. I'm not trying to vilify a hobby and an industry that also has people who do this for fun. There are kids who trade cards still kind of in that pure form. People go to conventions and have fun and build relationships through this hobby like any other hobby. I would say most people are actually doing that, but there is a small percentage of people that have developed a huge problem. And again, it's not unique to trading cards. You could develop a problem with anything: drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling. But this has unfortunately created, this industry is now almost promoting the gambling aspect of the industry. And I fear that they're also targeting the youth to then get another generation of people, not just another, I'm saying the next generation might be conditioned that this is what this industry is about. The next dopamine rush, the next dopamine hit, the thrill of the chase, to get the $50,000 card and to beg their parents, hey, Mom, Dad, can I spend $300 to enter an auction, hoping I might have a 1 in 50,000 chance or 100,000 chance to hit that card? It's almost like the lotto, but within the hobby, trading card, sports card industry. Exactly, James. Addiction is addiction. It is insane. And it has gotten out of control. So, all right, guys, I appreciate those of you who stuck through and watched through the interview. But any other last minute comments, any other last minute questions? And Dennis, if you're still here, I'll have to look into the card game One with Everything by Steve Jackson Games. I never heard of that. So I remember you said, it predicted all these events, which is crazy. It reminds me of The Simpsons, where, and maybe it's just The Simpsons, they just cover so many broad cultural topics that by chance they almost seem like they're Nostradamus. But let's see, Teresa says, toy companies are selling retro 80s toys to us ladies in our 40s with blind boxes. Oh my gosh, Teresa, so you buy multiple boxes hoping to get the rare item. You are kidding me, Teresa. Even the toy industry is basically doing what I just showed you on the live stream earlier, where you're randomly you're entering an auction to hopefully get a random card like I showed you on Whatnot. So, wow, okay. So where are these blind boxes? Like, I'm just curious. Like, do you have to go to like eBay or Whatnot, like these selling platforms? Like, where do you get these where do you get these blind boxes for toys? I mean, like I said, I'm a 1982 baby, so I mean, He-Man and G.I. Joes, like, you're gonna make me go down that path. So, you have a Facebook chat to find out who found the rare character. That is awesome, Teresa. James, my next live stream's on Saturday, so Tuesdays, Saturdays, unless something comes up. But Saturday, I'm working on myself. James, I'm glad. I'm glad that you're working on yourself. I'm glad that you're doing okay. I'm glad that you're, motivated. So keep it up, James. So Rainbow Bright major toy distributors. Okay. So they're covered in plastic, so you can't see the toy inside. I'm gonna have to check that out, Teresa. I really am. So, I'm glad you went to detox, James. I'm glad. So, and look, I know that relapses are gonna come and go, but the fact is, as long as you stay motivated, you keep pushing forward. I hope you keep doing that. So keep up the motivation. So, Rainbow Bright major toy distributors. Okay. That's crazy. So like that's a perfect example, right? This is nothing unique to the trading card industry. So even the toy industry is trying to get creative and gamify. And I'm sure I have to imagine, Teresa, there have got to be a few micro influencers on like TikTok or Instagram, I'm sure, that promote this kind of stuff, or maybe they do those like reveals where they buy a bunch and they open them up, right? Like I'm sure there's got to be, right? There's always a niche for all these things, right? So somebody out there, I'm sure, right, has like a mini following or a decent following, I bet, on social media where they're buying some of these in bulk and opening them up on their live streams or on their channel so you could see and vicariously live through that, right? And I'm sure there is, right? I bet you somewhere on your Facebook chat there's someone out there who's like become the go-to person on social media, who's opening up those toy things, right? So hey Babs, thanks for checking in. Yeah, we're about to wrap up, but if you just to summarize for you, Babs, what we talked about today, more kind of pop culture related stuff. First half of the video, we talked about how hobbies like even trading cards can become an addiction, and how industries are even gamifying and adding a gambling element into something as benign on face value as collecting sports cards. And then Teresa has been chiming in about how even the toy industry has has also gamified retro toys to make it like a treasure hunt and a gamble, where you're buying these blind boxes where you don't even know what exact toy from the 80s is in there, hoping you're going to find the rare toy. So huge strawberry shortcake party happened with roller skate. Gosh, you have thousands of cards. Ones my mom's didn't rip up when I was little. Yeah, you never know, James. This is the bubble. The bubble is at peak bubble for the card industry. You might have something in there. Maybe you should go check them out and see if there's any decent ones that you can cross reference on eBay. You never know. I mean, people find random cards all the time that might have someone out there who wants to buy it. So, and then the second half, Babs, we were talking about what are called cook groups, and cook groups typically are associated with shoe culture, sneaker culture, people who are trying to get, the early drop on when the latest limited edition shoes are going to come out, using tools and software so that they could purchase things when they're released online. But cook groups have now evolved to include other items outside of sneakers. So finding price errors and glitches, where you might be able to find items for free, where you might be able to find pricing errors that you can quote unquote take advantage of. And even things like I showed to the group here, coupon generators, almost probably borderlining fraud, where you could basically just print up coupons and just get things for free. So we were just talking about the morals and the ethics of participating in those groups. And if you benefited from them, is that you just as the small guy, just, leveling the playing field? Or is that just basically criminal behavior that we as a society are just calling with these euphemisms, cook group, glitch group, price error group, but basically saying retail theft with euphemisms, right? And just wanted to hear your thoughts as the general listening group on the ethics and morals of that. So thank you again, guys, for joining. Getting late here, had a long day of work today, got a long day tomorrow. So I wish you well. I hope you guys are doing good. No, you don't got to bug me and James. You're not bugging James. So hope you guys are doing well. Join me again on Saturday. Probably flip back to more core mental health related topics, but hopefully this was a good tangential, lighthearted episode about other kind of more general culture items. So thank you for joining. For those of you who are new to this, please subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, until next time, guys, have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining in again.